Just get our Thai leftovers.
There's just rice on the table.
Something on the table.
Rice and smeared curry.
Delicious curry. That place is good.
This is good. Ah. Oh, shit. I did it again.
This is typical. What are you doing?
1 second. Hold on.
I did look. I thought it was just that my shirt is striped.
Yeah.
So I looked kind of crazy. So this shirt comes with matching shorts.
Yeah.
And of course, you know.
I've got them on right now.
Of course, I'm like a sucker for like Instagram ads,
Yeah.
like most people and, you know, women with clothing, I think, are. And,
Well, I mean.
well, you're clearly susceptible to the Instagram ad. We're going to talk about that in a second. I put the outfit on and I'm like, just looks like jammies.
Yeah, I can see that.
So now I'm like, do I just return the shorts or do I go with it and be confident in my cute outfit, especially since I'm about to go to France?
Yeah.
It's a French company, actually.
Yeah. Go with it and be confident. And then if it was a mistake, just wear them as jammies.
I was just going to say, like, if it doesn't work out, just wear them to bed. You wake up the next morning, like, at an event. And like, are you wearing the same thing? It's like, yeah, I decided I didn't like the outfit as like a day outfit, so now they're my jammies.
But then I decided that I would wear it today, so I've just been wearing the same clothes for 24 hours. Oh, wait. Thank God. I had a mustache hair stuck in between one of my teeth.
It really grosses me out when you say that, because like the thought of like a loose, coarse hair just in your mouth.
And they get stuck like in my gums in the back.
Like,
I don't
how
know
are you capable of doing anything else?
Yeah.
Like, remember the bean skin fiasco? I was like, excuse me,
So
I have to step away.
So you admit it.
No, it wasn't a bean skin. You and Patrick both ganged up on me. I was not confirmed.
I think
bean skin.
Dan also might have agreed that it was a bean skin.
Okay, agreed. That did anyone? No one saw it.
Yeah.
Also, bean skin, like how, like these weren't chickpeas, like garbanzo beans that have like a skin.
I think all beans have a skin.
Yeah, but this is again,
like
we
like
had a whole
shell.
conversation about how this was canned refried beans.
Yeah.
There's no skins in there.
Welcome to Hypocritical. I tried to shift. Welcome to Hypercritical, podcast where two entitled people have opinions about things. I'm Spencer, and this is my co-host, Shannon. This week, we're going to be talking about geothermal energy.
What? It's actually funny because for the events that I'm doing this year, one of them is in Iceland. Yeah. And it's like, how do we make geothermal energy part of the conversation? I wish you could see him because he's like he's
perfectly out of the frame. And he doesn't know that, but
I have to say, I do feel very like appropriate, like about to go to France with my little.
You've got your like nice, expensive French shirt on, and your nails are done, and your like gold necklace, and I'm wearing an XMEN shirt.
But this is like the perfect representation. Yeah. Although no, it's not perfect because normally I'm in like Target loungewear.
Yeah.
Oh, did you want? What are we drinking?
Oh, what are we drinking?
What are we drinking? So as you know, I am interested in like going through the list of classic cocktails, and I don't want to repeat anything until we've gotten to the end, and then we can go back and we can start like making some variations.
Yeah.
By the way, ever since I said on the podcast that like a Vesper is not a Vesper martini, and I don't want to hear about variations of Negronis, I'm hearing about it at events. And when I see people who have watched it, they're like, oh, I know you don't want to hear about Negroni. I'm like, no, I want to hear about it. I'm just saying it's not a Negroni anymore. It's a cocktail. Anyway, in that spirit.
Don't.
Uh-oh.
He's trying to get.
Please don't.
The laptop is warm.
No!
And even though it's 90 degrees outside.
That was probably so loud. I'm sorry.
Even though it's 90 degrees outside, he wants to be on the warm laptop, and he's discovered it, and this is going to be a problem.
Because he wants to be 110 degrees.
Yeah.
Will you just, there we go. Oh, he's so handsome.
This is gonna I guarantee you, prediction for the episode, this is going to happen at least 5 more times.
Oh.
What the fuck were we talking about?
This week, we polled the audience and said, which of the following cocktails do you think we should make tonight for Hypercritical recording? And it was...
we recently started to do our cocktail feature weekly, which...
Sick
have you
martini.
posted it?
Oh, I mean, no.
Oh.
Because you were late.
I mean, I sent it on time.
Not really. You sent it incorrect on time. It had sweet vermouth, and that's not in margaritas.
Like that, and I sent it to you at 5.
I mean, fine. I'll do it right now. You want me to do it right now?
Send it. I mean,
it's just so easy. There's no, art to it, and a monkey
the art's
could do
already
it.
been done. You just have to hit a couple buttons.
I really dislike you today. I really do. You've been a pain in the ass today.
Today?
This week?
You're
insufferable this week because you're really busy with your corporate job. And when you get busy, you get very entitled to your busyness. I like the nights that you're streaming, I'm literally bringing you dinner. Yeah. And as I'm doing it, I'm like that girl in that thing that's on Instagram where it's like married to a gamer. Ha ha ha. And I'm like, ugh. Here, eat your fucking peanut butter and jelly. I'm going to bring you one.
Eat your macaroni and cheese. Bring me a bag of Doritos and peanut butter and jelly.
I'm going to make you a peanut butter and jelly. You're going to be like, thanks, Mom.
Thanks. There's actually not enough protein in this. The macros are off.
Okay, this is exactly what you would say, though. This is real.
I can't just have a peanut butter and jelly. I need protein.
All right, well, then you could take a break from your stream. Look what you did. Okay.
I have been streaming twitch.tv/Hegmo. We'll flash it on the screen right here. If you want to come hang out.
He won't. He'll forget. He'll be lazy. Be like, I don't want to cut stuff in. I'm just it's fine. No one needs it.
We're playing lots of fun games. Diablo. We're playing Street Fighter. We're playing Final Fantasy 11, which is a 21-year-old game.
What? Oh my God. I thought you meant for 21 and up.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, what?
It's for only 21.
Why?
Yeah, adults only.
Ew.
Also,
we don't play adults only video games.
We're also streaming on OnlyFans. Just kidding.
Okay, so
don't bring me the peanut
there's
butter.
I'm not gonna do this right now because I have to. There's a caption process. We have to describe things. I'm not doing it right now. Anyway, we asked for classic.
You bring my peanut butter and jelly up, and I'm like fully nude, like, oh no.
I had a serious conversation with friends of mine a couple weekends ago about OnlyFans and the things people do. It's actually on one hand, it's actually really sad, what they're doing and why. And at the same time, you're like, that's smart. I get it. That's actually nice. Yeah. It's not all disgusting. I'm sure 90% of it is, but basically it's there are women on OnlyFans who literally what they do is have their phone set up to stream or whatever. I don't even know the lingo, video chat with a guy, and it's the end of the day and it's them opening a bottle of wine and cooking dinner and just talking to them and asking them how their day went. They just want someone to connect with and talk to, and you're and then of course my friend was
donate button for only $5.
They're well, she's naked and masturbating, but not really. Just kidding. Okay, wow. I never wanted to say masturbating on the podcast. Anyway,
hi, Mom.
I swear to God, if you don't let me finish this fucking sentence.
I was talking to my mom. She's watching right now.
She does watch this, doesn't she? My mom would be like, why would I watch that? I get enough of you idiots every month when we get together.
See you next month. Yeah,
exactly. Anyway, this is a sidecar.
Yes.
We did the poll, and I was in the moment, classic martini, a sidecar, that's a thing. Yeah. And then something else. Yeah. Everyone went for sidecar. And I'm like, none of you fuckers know what a sidecar is. I don't even know.
It's a cool classic cocktail. What is it? I've never had one. I'm going to have my first sip of a sidecar.
Same. I've never had one.
We don't even know if you made it right.
Y'all, we might really dislike this. And he is a big baby about lemon juice with any whiskey family drinks. Yeah. So it's cognac, which I can't believe that we have. Okay, you made your point. You haven't even tried it yet. We have cognac, and I remembered why just now. Yeah. It was from 2 Christmases ago where I was I'm taking December off because I used to work how many hours a week do you think I used to work?
Well, you and your corporate job, always so busy.
I wasn't a big baby who expected someone to bring me dinner every night. Is the difference?
A lot.
A normal work week is 40 hours. Yeah. I probably worked 60-hour weeks on a normal basis. So that December, I was I'm not working. I'm going to make cookies and pastries and soups and whatever. Yeah. And there's some recipe that needed cognac because we were I thought, is this a joke? People drink this? So we've had it for 2 years. So I'm well, we can make a sidecar.
He's got his rainbow.
He's so cute.
He's trying to take it up there so he can show everybody.
Oh my God, I would die. Cognac, fresh lemon juice, and then orange liqueur.
Yeah.
Which I have beef with orange liqueur, honestly. I feel like half the time I'm like, why can't I just do like fresh orange juice?
Well, liqueur, I mean, that's like saying like, why can't I just put potatoes in it? That's vodka. You know, it's like, it's distilled.
That is a stretch. Orange liqueur to me, for the most part, is about adding an orange note. So,
but it's also like, there's a like alcoholic content to it, and it's different. Let's try it. It's very citrusy.
Yeah, there's like to it.
It may have been heavy on the citrus.
I did exactly what I was supposed
but
to.
I mean, it's not bad. It might also just have floated to the top.
True.
Give it a little stir, see what happens. But it's not terrible.
I get it. And cognac has like an apple note to it, right? Like this tastes like apple juice.
I think cognac is apple liqueur. Oh my God, he brought it up. Help him get it all the way up.
My God, y'all, cats are the fucking best. I'm sorry, I'm cussing a lot. I'm just
talking about masturbating.
I'm sorry, I don't know why I said that. Cats are the best. I just feel like growing up, I'm like, no, society says that cats are mean and whatever. And like, if you don't have them, you don't get it. And then you get a cat and you're like, what was I doing my whole life? He has this toy that's like on a long plastic stick. And then there's like this long rainbow like fabric. And
you're supposed to like, twirl it for him, but he just drags it around.
And it's really cute because it's adorable and everything, but he wants to like bring it to you. So then, cut to 3 a.m. and we're asleep. And you just
it's got a long plastic handle and he's dragging it across the hardwood floor.
So you wake up and you're like,
what the fuck is that?
Oh my God, is that like a person? Like it's like the bad guy in Last Action Heroes. He's like dragging the axe.
Oh yeah.
Literally the first time he did that to us, I was like, Jesus Christ.
And you had just watched that movie too. He's trying to put it on the laptop right now.
Oh, no.
It's like, if I bring my toy, they'll let me do this.
I mean, there are times where I'm like, let him do whatever he wants.
Pass me that. All right. Here's the rainbow.
Oh, so cute.
Come here. We got a prop.
We're playing with our cats on the podcast.
Come on, come get it. It's over here now.
Just so you know, one of our other cats is off camera, and he's just like in the corner,
he's like staring around a corner, just like.
What's that character in The Life Aquatic? They're what?
Klaus.
It's Klaus. Yeah. So it's Steve Zissou.
Yeah.
And like one or two other guys,
Zissou.
Probably including Owen Wilson, and they're like.
Oh, it's Owen Wilson and Bill Murray, and they're having like a heart-to-heart. If you know the plot of that movie, don't stop taking it over there.
Come here.
They're having like a little like heart-to-heart rallying, and becoming buddies, and Willem Dafoe is like, and it's one of those things like, and this is what's great about Wes Anderson movies.
I love him though.
This is what's great about Wes Anderson movies. Like, we've watched that movie so many times, and like on the 10th time we watched it, we noticed, and they like put their hands in to do like a little thing.
I think they do this.
Oh yeah, and like you see Willem Dafoe like
under the stairs,
way in the background under the stairs, and he's like watching, and he like does it too because he wants to be a part of the team.
So every time we have like one of those situations where you see like other people getting together or whatever, and you're like, we always think of like.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah. He's just on a mission to derail.
This is one of those drinks that the more I taste it, the more I'm like, all right, I get it. I like it.
Hits you with the sour lemon pretty intense the first sip.
I'm getting it now.
And then your mouth kind of adjusts.
Yep. I get it. I don't think this is something that I would be like, ooh, it sounds really good.
Yeah.
It's one of those drinks that if we were like...
It's like alcoholic lemonade.
It's like apple lemonade alcohol. But if we were like out at like a nice dinner or something and they were like, would you like an aperitif? And they came around with like a teeny tiny glass.
And I feel like we've had that before. Something similar to this.
Yeah.
Like at like a fancy
like
restaurant. Bouillon or something like. And they come out with like a little... It was falling off the edge and he was trying to rescue it. Anyway, what? Hi, welcome to Hypercritic.
You're like sweating, and you're like,
I don't know. I'm so sorry. The pressure. Here's what I wanted to talk about.
Oh.
Rogue, the X-Men, right?
I'm sorry. Wait, are you actually wanting to talk about like a Rogue Fitness something? So you wore your Rogue X-Men shirt?
So look, here's the deal. Rogue from X-Men has the same name as Rogue Fitness, and I have a list of things that I want to buy. No, just kidding.
Hit that donate button. Don't.
Follow me on Twitch. Use your Twitch Prime.
Actually, please spread the word. Get people watching, or else I will go crazy with the streaming for 10 people.
They're 10 really close friends.
Okay.
Okay, Rogue from X-Men, and I don't know the comics. Like, I remember reading the comics, but like I think I like mostly read like Wolverine comics or like a few, you know, like they don't always have all the characters, whatever, you know. Mm-hmm. Rogue in the cartoon, like the 90s X-Men cartoon.
This Rogue.
Yeah, this Rogue, right?
Yeah.
Right here. Mm-hmm. And by the way, I think Netflix, sponsored by Netflix, so this is a little pitch for you guys. They're making a like continuation of that series.
The series from like the 90s?
Yeah. And it's like in the same animation style. And it's like,
that's smart.
Yeah. At least that's what I think the premise is. But it's in progress right now. Or maybe it's not Netflix, it's through Disney Plus. That makes more sense.
I think they just like started playing the Hulk movies on Disney Plus because of rights.
Right.
So I think like everything is moving to Disney.
But in the cartoon, Rogue is like an adult badass.
She is awful in the movies.
She like flies. She's got super strength. She can absorb people's power.
So what was the thinking for the character in the movies?
She's in love with, there's like a love interest thing between her and Wolverine, and like it actually makes sense in that because like she's not a child. At least she's not portrayed as a child, and like, he can heal so he can like survive. That
does make sense. Oh.
And I don't know, and like, Marvel nerds out there, tell me, like, is the comic more closely portrayed through the cartoon or through the movie? Because in the movies, she's just cartoon. Like, she's just a kid. She's like a teenager, and there's like this whiny, like,
and all she does, just to be clear, all she can do in the movie series
is take people's powers and kill them.
She takes their powers?
Yeah, she absorbs their powers.
Oh, okay.
So I think there's a whole premise, like we just watched all these movies, but there's like a whole plot point where she has to like, that's like the whole point is that she needs to absorb somebody's powers to like make it through something. But I don't know. I can't remember.
I think she's just a Wolverine.
Yeah. And like she gets stabbed and she takes his powers or whatever,
Oh, right. Yeah.
Oh, because it's like he's having a nightmare and she goes to comfort him or whatever, and then she
and he like stabs her.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, that's her ability, is that she can absorb other people's powers. But I feel like, in the cartoon, she like flies and has super strength, and she's just like, she calls people, like she has this southern accent and calls people sugar, and like,
whoa.
Is just like an adult, cool character.
In the,
I was waiting for like, so anyway, when I'm in Paris next week.
Anxious about that. I'm really anxious about that, but I'm going to come back to that. In the comics and or show, do you remember if there was like the whole Jean and Logan, and I can't say Logan right now without thinking Logan Roy. Like there is no other Logan to talk about. Was that made up for the movie series? No. Or that was a thing and he really was in love with her?
There's a whole, there's a meme, and you've probably seen it, of Wolverine laying in bed, and he's looking at like a picture frame, and it's like a picture of Jean Grey, and he's like sad. and like people always use it as a meme, and they like change the picture out that he's looking at.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a plot.
And she really was with Cyclops.
Yeah, like Cyclops and Jean Grey has like always been the thing. Yeah. Okay.
Interesting. You just wonder how much they like inject into the movies. I feel like we've talked about X-Men on this podcast a lot.
We have.
Patrick Stewart, I'm always convinced that he is in a wheelchair.
He's actually in a wheelchair.
And because like, okay, here's why. Obviously because of X-Men, but also there's so many times where like my first like visualization of him in Star Trek is him sitting like in the captain's chair. So I'm like, he's always sitting.
Yeah.
It makes total sense. Has he done anything lately?
He was in...
Don't say Star Trek.
Actually, no. And I think they either just came out with the last season of it or they're still making it, but they made Star Trek Picard.
Yeah, that feels like it was like a year ago, but it could have been 6 years ago.
It's been several years and like it's come out in several stages. Apparently it's really good. I watched the first season at one point and it was pretty good. And it's like him and he's retired, but he's like drawn back into it because of some crazy stuff. Yeah. Apparently it's really good. He was also Professor X in the Doctor Strange movie. That was terrible.
Was it terrible?
Multiverse of Madness?
It wasn't great. Honestly, I liked that show. WandaVision.
Yeah.
I actually really liked that. Of all of the like Marvel TV shows, like I didn't think Loki was that great.
I thought Loki was good.
I think it was fine, but it was like...
I think it ended weird.
I think we talked about this before. But yeah, like it gets to the end and you're like... They didn't nail it. And it just...
And I think that, I think there's like a lot... And this is kind of like the same... It's a Disney problem, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because like the same thing happened with Star Wars, and we've talked about this before too. But like, I feel like there's so much pressure to do it and like make sure that we're hitting these metrics and make sure that the executives are happy and make sure that also the fans are happy and
all of those things add up to the writers don't know what to do
exactly
and who to make happy.
And so I think like Star Wars is a perfect example. Loki's all the Marvel movies recently where it feels like. And that's the problem I've had with my biggest complaint. Like Multiverse of Madness, fine. The like plot, all the other stuff, like the visuals, it was all really impressive and kind of fun to watch in a vacuum. But like every time I start going on a tangent,
no, I don't mind
about Star Trek or movies. All like in a vacuum, it's fine, but we're so used to with the Marvel movies, for example, having like that whole like, oh, there's this feeds into this, and like you can see the thread, and like, oh, they like it shows Captain America's shield at the end of the movie, and that means this, and like there's a payoff. And I feel like Multiverse of Madness and a lot of the recent movies, like you leave and you're like, oh, okay. I guess that doesn't have anything to do with anything yet.
Right. It did feel like a little bit of an excuse to just do
a bunch of visual effects and stuff. Like, and there was some cool stuff, and like they show Professor X and whatever else. But
I had forgotten about that. And there's also like the alternate universe like panel. Yeah. With John Krasinski as.
He's Mr. Fantastic, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
And then
he has the stretchy arms and she like tears him up or whatever.
Oh my god, no. And then what did she do? What did she do to one of them? She like put something in his mouth. Yeah. And then like seals his mouth. And like, why is she capable of doing all these things?
Because she's got crazy witch powers.
It's like horrific though. Like he like implodes and you're like, oh god. Was that harsh.
Him? Was that Mr. Fantastic and he like goes into like ribbons basically?
No. I feel like that was someone else. We'll have to look. I can't remember, but I don't know. I also don't love when like there's a character that.
Oh, it was Black Bolt or whoever who does the like he can't speak because his like voice makes sonic booms. Yeah. And that's she seals his mouth closed. Makes sense. I was answering your question.
Just like out of nowhere and so aggressively when I'm like halfway through something, and now I'm not going to pick it up because that's annoying.
Pick it up.
I don't even remember what it was.
Go ahead and pick it up.
I don't remember now.
Go ahead.
God, you're annoying. I'm telling you, you're annoying this week. It's hard being married. Oh my God, Amy Schumer has a stand-up right now.
Yeah.
That's on like Netflix, I think. And she's been married for like 5 or 6 years, and she's talking a lot about marriage and having a baby and all this stuff. And one of the things she says, she's like, you know what I've realized after being married for 5 years? You need to find someone who can stand you. That's the goal. Like, just someone who can stand you. And she's just talking about like being awful and like wanting to go see the new Top Gun movie, and her husband didn't want to. And there's like this whole thing where they like had a breakdown, and she's like, you know what? Give me your wallet. I want to go see Top Gun.
Why would she not pay for it herself?
Because it's the joke. I thought the same thing when she said that. It was just like, okay, but it was funny.
Yeah.
It was the way to like finish the joke. But I just thought that was really like,
I don't get it.
Because I didn't tell the joke.
Yeah, okay,
but I loved how like spot on it was. It was just like, that's the thing, because you're together all the time.
Well,
and you don't have to like switch on for each other. And
it's definitely about like, there's a degree of like compromising that has to happen internally with everybody. Mm-hmm. You know, like when you don't say, you don't do it, like you might be like, I don't do it. And sometimes we very like vocally are like, well, I don't want to do that, but I guess we can, you know, like, but you know, when somebody wants to watch a certain movie and the other person's like, I don't want to watch that movie.
You literally like revert to being a child.
Yeah. And like, I don't have a movie in mind that I want to watch, but I don't want to watch that one.
It's the same with food.
And like, you know, and ultimately you just have to be like, fine, yeah, that sounds great. Let's watch it. You know, sure.
Yeah. And
then you watch it and you're like, that was good. You know, like, yeah.
And I feel like you need to take it to a different level though, because it's so much more than choosing what to eat for dinner and what movie to watch. Like, you remove any and all filter, especially like for us, we're like in year 13.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know what we don't share with each other. And like, there is no, like, there are times where I look in the mirror and I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, I clearly like do not care. Like this morning, like I had just woken up, and like we got woken up a lot because it's like summer in Texas. So like storms and stuff. Yeah. And then the cats knocked over a massive table at 5:30. Yeah. And I feel like I like heard it wobbling, and I was like not even awake yet. And I was like, all these thoughts started. And I was just like, have to catch the table, have to pick this up. The alarm's going to go off. We have to do this. Like make sure all these.
I remember hearing it wobble and then hit the ground. And then I was like getting up to go to the alarm, and you're like, get the alarm. We're just like, we both like, we're like, all right, here we go.
Yeah.
Like,
it's been a while.
You know, somebody, and I get, we would probably know like subconsciously, but like we're so programmed to like disastrous noises in the middle of the night. We're like, oh, it's the cats,
which is not good.
Yeah. Like,
it's like if there ever is
somebody like actually breaks into the house, we're like, I'm going to be coming out like, those fucking cats.
Turning off the alarm. You're like, no, set the alarm. I do remember that. I was like, get the alarm, quick, because you're closer to it than me. And
there have been, I don't know if the first time they set the alarm off.
I remember that.
It was, you know, really, it was the first time we had an alarm.
Yeah.
So we like, you know, because we had lived in apartments, they didn't have an alarm system. You know, it was just like a locked door. And like, so we had an alarm, we were setting it. And a few weeks in, like one of the cats like was in the pantry, and there's like glass break sensors and stuff. So like if there's a noise that's loud enough, it registers it as like somebody's broken a window. And they like threw a bottle of olive oil or something, and it didn't break, thankfully. That would have been terrible to clean up at 3 in the morning.
Fun, yeah.
But like they throw, and it made a loud enough noise that it triggered the alarm, and the alarm starts going off, playing the siren, blaring, and like you got up and you were like ready to go. You're like running out there like, I'm gonna collect the cats, defeat the enemy,
whatever it is,
whatever it takes. And
in my underwear.
Yeah, and I remember like I was like not fully awake, and I'm in my underwear, God, and I'm just like running back and forth like, what, where, what? Who? I said something. What did I say? I said.
You were literally like, again, we're both asleep. And by the way, these things have happened multiple times. It's always 6 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. For some reason, it's 6 a.m. It's like the witching hour.
It's when the cats like start waking up and they're getting bored and whatever.
We're both in our underwear, and you're right. Like I did not have a thought beyond like, I'm going to go see what that is, and I'm going at it, whatever it is. Like it could be a guy with a like machete, and I'm still going to go straight for him. And you are also in your underwear, and you like walk out, and you're so confused, and you go, "What is it? Who is it? Who's there? What's happening? Who was it?" I was like, "I don't know."
I said something. I can't pinpoint what it was.
There was a lot of like who questions.
It was something like I said something like I was trying to, when you're like half asleep and you can't make yourself talk.
You were like
yet.
90% asleep.
And like 90% asleep, and you can't make yourself talk. Like your body, you've been forced awake because there's an alarm going off and like adrenaline kicks in at the same time. So it's like your body's gone from 0 to 100 like immediately.
Right.
Well, not like 0 to 100 like you're an athlete like hitting the field. Like you are literally asleep and like adrenaline pumps into your body.
Yeah.
And so I remember getting up and I was trying to speak and I'd like just said something like, who's there? Like,
will you tell me who is there, please? Like Chandler Bing.
It wasn't like a
it wasn't
question.
Scared. It was just like, confused.
It was like also it was confused, but also like inept. Like I couldn't form words, so it was just like who out, who there,
please. That's so funny. Oh my God, that really was terrifying, and it was like a month in. Because I remember it was on their birthday, which, yes, we know our cat's birthday.
Yeah.
And that's how they woke us up. And it was 6 a.m. And a few other times it's happened, it was the same thing. It was like a 6 a.m. thing, and something got knocked over. One time it was a window breaking.
Oh, yeah.
And it was in our like front room that we never closed the doors.
Fortunately, it was on the opposite side of the house from us. Yeah.
It's on the opposite side of the house. We almost put our new cat in there.
Yeah.
Because he still had to be separated from the others. And we almost put him in there that night. And then last minute we were like, it's not going to work. Let's just keep, putting him in the other room. And we wake up and it's 6 a.m. and the alarm didn't go off, but we heard the glass break.
Yeah.
And we walk in the room and all we see is broken glass all over, like literally all over this room and nothing else. And we're like,
yeah, there's broken glass everywhere. We're like, there's nothing in here. We can't find, like, it's not like somebody threw a rock in the window.
The window faces our driveway. So like that makes no sense. Like someone would have to be in our driveway back there.
Well,
like,
they could have thrown it from this side, but, and there's like birds freaking out in the trees. And like my mind went to like, well, because there were a ton of birds in this tree right here. And like they had been really loud and they're all flying around. And I was like, did a bird because we had the windows are like old. It's like old house.
120-year-old windows. They're very thin. Single
pane glass. Right. So I'm like, maybe a bird flew into it hard enough to break it.
Like if he hit it with his beak or something.
And then like flew out, like hit it hard enough to break the glass and flew out. And like, that's why there's nothing in here.
But we thought it was a bird for days. Because I remember talking to my brother, Patrick.
Yeah.
And he goes, but like, how big was the hole? And we're like, the hole in the window was like this big.
Yeah.
And there was glass all over. And he's like, a bird can't find their way out that fast. Because we got into that room in like 50 seconds or something.
Yeah.
So then we were like, oh my God. Like, what was it?
We couldn't figure it out. And then, so we,
anyway,
we like patched it up. We found a company that, nearby that would come replace the glass, and they would do it on the historic window and like, do it right. We still haven't, that was 2.5 years ago. We still haven't painted that. It's still like a white that hasn't been painted.
Literally never once thought about that. But they wouldn't do it yet because it was like,
oh, it was too cold.
Yeah. So this wasn't a month in. This was like February.
Yeah. It was too cold, and they were like the putty, because you have to like.
Why is putty such a funny word?
Because it makes you think of Power Rangers, or at least makes me think of Power Rangers. Putties, they're like bad guys in Power Rangers.
Really?
They're Rita Repulsa.
No.
She's the bad villain. She's got like big horns, and she sends out her minions who are putties. They're like little gray guys. Like the green like suit, like the whole green suit that like you see people wear.
Oh yeah. Like CGI suit?
Yeah. It's like that, but it was gray. It was just like a gray bodysuit.
Like little?
No, they're full size.
Oh, you said little.
And they're like dancing around. We'll put it on screen.
Could you imagine that being like your acting job? You're like, I've taken a few side jobs.
Side note, I want to finish the window story, but side note, and I knew this from a long time ago. I learned this a long time ago, and most people don't know this. Power Rangers is a Japanese show.
You told me that once, and I was like, huh. Well, but it makes sense because, like, how, you know.
So it's called Super Sentai.
What does Sentai mean?
I have no idea. I don't speak Japanese.
You're like Rangers, obviously.
It's called Super Sentai. And basically, when some company got the rights to release it in the US, and they were basically like the storyline and the characters, you know, all the Japanese actors, it's not going to relate to the kids in the US. And we'd have to dub it. And so basically what they did is they kept all the fight scenes where they're in suits and in their like Mechazords and all the other stuff.
I'm sorry. What?
Mechazords.
Don't say that to me like any 35-year-old just knows that word.
Come on, Shannon.
No.
They're in their Zords. And so all those things where you can't see the actual actors, that's from the Japanese show.
Okay.
Right? Everything where you see like Billy and you know all those guys, you know, the Power Rangers talking to each other in real life, and like all the conflict that happens in you know, when they're not in their suits.
Okay.
They film that as new footage and then just cut it in with the fight scenes.
So they never had to do the fight scenes.
No.
Wow.
Those act and like maybe they did a few things where they like pose really quick before they transformed, you know? But like all of the fighting scenes are Japanese actors that were filmed like a decade before.
Did they get like extra credit for that?
Probably not. They probably just bought like blanket rights and were able to use it all. Yeah.
Okay, 1993, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Wait, was it a cartoon?
No.
It was real.
Yeah.
I loved it. It's just been a very long time. I just want to see if any character is named Billy, because
Billy's Blue Ranger.
Billy Cranston, the Blue Ranger. Putty Patroller.
Yeah, the Putty Patroller.
Was also Lord Zed, Tanga, the referee, and Cowboy in Red Long Johns.
Okay.
What does that even mean?
I don't know.
Oh wow.
But yeah, so it's a Japanese show, and they basically just like, instead of redubbing, they just reshot all the out of the suit stuff, and that's why like it feels like if you were to watch it now, it's jarring because like it like they go from a not Hollywood, some like sound, you know, some sound studio where they're recording these in-person things, and then they're like out in a field fighting. And like,
okay, I feel like I do have a little bit of a memory of this. Like it's like being jogged right now, and you're right. Now I want to watch it. Yeah, not like a lot, just like a scene.
So anyway, guys come out. They repair the window once it warms up. It was too cold because the putties. And
it's like, what episode is there a window that someone has to fix?
The putties are out there like.
That's so funny.
And they finally get rid of the putties. And
wait, this is my part because this wasn't you.
Yeah.
So they fix the window. They replace it completely.
Yeah.
And the guy comes in, and he's a really nice guy, and like he obviously like knows what he's doing, and he's smart and everything. He comes in and he goes, "Would you like to know what broke your window?" I was like, "Yeah, I would." And he goes, "Hold out your hand." I was like, "Nope." Flashbacks to elementary school were just running through my mind. And I'm like, last time I said okay to that, a little boy put a cricket in my hand. Yeah. I'm not, what is it? And he's like, just, you know. And so I did that, and he, like a bullet drops into my hand. And I'm like, I don't even know what that is. And he's like, it's a bullet. Yeah. I go, don't ever tell my mom. Yeah. Like it just came out. And he's like, I'm not going to tell your mom. Yeah. But and it's really weird because like the nature of where it hit, it like nicked the window and then embedded in the window frame. But like the angle, it was almost like someone would have had to be standing like in our driveway.
It would have come from the street back. So like somebody was driving down the street across, back here, and like, or like from that street or whatever shot, and it went over the fence and hit from this side.
And then of course we started looking into like, how do you bulletproof your house?
Yeah, that's another terrifying
and you're like, you can't. I looked it up. You just can't. It's like, great, because like where we live, there's actually a lot.
Yeah.
It's been a little better lately, but
unfortunate thing is that, knock on wood, there are a lot of like, it's not a bad area, but we definitely hear like gunshots and whatever.
We live in a very weird, it's nice on this street and one street over it's terrifying, and we're right in the middle.
Right. That room though, where the bullet hit, it hit in an unfortunate spot because if it had not hit the window, there's like wood siding and then like 1 inch thick wood board. It's like it was built in the 1900s.
Do you think it would have not gone through that?
No way.
Dang.
Like solid, like it would have had to go through 3 layers, like multiple inches
Let's
of
make
wood.
the whole house that.
And it got embedded in the wood window frame and not that deep. So it would have stopped. But
aren't you so glad we didn't put Bean in there that night?
Yeah, that would have been terrible. Our bedroom is newer, so like a bullet could very easily go through there. But
like the exterior walls?
It just depends on like the caliber and all that other stuff. There's
caliber of the walls or the bullet?
The bullet.
I thought you meant the walls, and it would be funny because it also applies to the bullet.
Yeah.
Don't tell my mom. I think we did
She know
I think we ended up telling her, but she probably did this. No.
Yeah.
Because she wants me to live next live next door to her. She's so funny. She's like, the house across the street is for sale. I'm like, we're not moving to Carrollton.
Moving there. Yeah.
We love you, but we're not moving to Carrollton.
And also, like, not to
just
throw
I know
shade on anything, but like, we'd have to be in a seriously bad situation to go from where we are right now,
Spencer,
to a 1-story like. Isn't that
there's
house?
a couple 2 stories on that street. My best friend used to live in one of them.
Okay.
Her parents, it was so cool. They literally, on the street I grew up on, there were probably, no joke, 2 houses on the entire street. We like lived on the same side of the street. 2 houses the whole way down that were 2-story. It's just a 1-story kind of neighborhood, like you said. And the house was basically like 1.5. Because it's a 2-story house, but everything was just like open on 1.5. Like above the kitchen was just like empty space. Her parents, it was actually really cool. They worked the contractor, obviously, to like gut the space. It was already gutted, but they outfitted the space above the kitchen, and they built a catwalk from the like kids' bedroom side. It was like a bathroom and 3 bedrooms. They built a catwalk to get across the house to the like media room they made, and they had like a pool table, and like it was the coolest place, especially when you were like 12 years old, which like Laura and I were like probably 12. But I always thought that was really cool. Like my best friend ended up with this.
Cool little.
Anyway, Carrollton, Texas.
Nice. We grew up in a house, and it was like the
most typical American family house ever.
I mean, we've talked about this before, and like it's funny to think back because like. My memory of my family growing up is like, the later years where it's like we're driving around in a like either my brother's like Subaru that was like so close to my face right just then.
I always think I got it and I didn't.
Or like a Jeep Wrangler listening to KMFDM and like, me and my brothers, were I don't know, just like goth kids and whatever else, but like years prior, when I was in like
Pottery Barn
elementary
catalog.
school, like, and again, second reference to us in our khaki shorts and straw hats and stuff for Easter and whatever. Yeah. But like, we grew up in like a 2-story house on USA Drive.
God, I always forget that it was like USA Drive.
White. Everybody called it the like White House because it had like 4 white columns out front. We had a golden retriever. It's just like.
What's the address, you think?
I won't say it out loud.
But right, fine.
I know exactly what it is. I think we looked it up at one point, but but yeah, it's like very.
Isn't it funny how there are numbers in your life that you'll never, ever forget? You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh my God, y'all, this is insane.
But, and like.
Okay, there's an American flag.
Oh, that's like a newer picture.
I know, but still, there's like a massive American flag. It's a red front door, white shutters, 4 white columns, the like triangle peak. Yeah. Well, you've told me about that room.
That's my
That was your room?
Yeah. The windows are shared. So like 2 of those windows are mine, and then the other side are AJ's.
Which is weird.
That's
weird. They need some landscaping help, and they need a new sidewalk.
We used to have totally different landscaping. In fact, it's weird that sorry. Yeah, weird.
You know what's even weirder? My mom is still in the house I grew up in.
Yeah. So 2 things about that, and I can't remember. What's funny about that is that, like, well, our house, you know, growing up, it was great, and you know, it was a big house, and you know, everything else, and like, you know, my dad's job had relocated from New York and moved down here, and so like at the time it worked, and I know that like when we moved into that house, it was like one of 4 houses on the street, and the rest of like the development hadn't been done. It was like empty fields around,
weird,
you know, sort of like, you know, think like the property developer that I used to work with. Like, imagine being one of the first people that moved into one of their neighborhoods. Yeah. Other weird thing is that like, and like this is just by nature of how housing works and now I know more about it because I at one point worked for a property developer, and like there was, you know, they just sell out lots to builders. Whoever owns the development sells out lots to builders who then build their products on their lots. And there's, you know, probably rules about like how many lots they can buy or where the lots are situated, and you know, so many phrases
so you're getting all your flashbacks
coming back to like about like non-monotony rules and stuff like that.
I love that that's a corporate, like that's a real term. That sounds like that's like a creative made up thing. So I actually love that.
But like, you know, where you couldn't put the same plan on 2 adjacent lots, because then you'd have 2 identical houses next to each other. But I do remember like our house, you know, it always felt like so cool and unique. And then like there was a family that lived basically like behind us across the alley. So like you'd have to go down the street and come up another street to get to their house, or, you know, just go back through the alley. And like their house was our floor plan, but flipped. And it was so weird. Like we went, I remember going in, they
just because it's different.
Yeah, it's different, but it was like the same house, but just like mirrored. And so it was just like this weird mirror world version of our house.
That is really weird. You never told me that.
The other thing I wanted to say about the house, and if you're watching, I apologize. I remember moving out
just
of
in
that
general,
house.
we're sorry.
A few things to apologize about moving out of that house. One, we were moving out, and
wait, were you apologizing for what you're about to say?
Yeah,
I was just apologizing for this episode.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. We're moving out of that house, and like me and my brothers, you know, were like having to clean up and pack stuff and all this other stuff. And basically, like, I think I don't remember, and like this is my memory of it, and it's probably wrong, but like I remember being told like, oh, just like anything that's still in the attic, like we rented a dumpster and it was in the it was in the driveway, and my younger brother's room overlooked the driveway, and we were told like anything that's still in the attic, just throw it away. You know, like if it's not boxed up, like we don't need it.
And how old were you guys?
I was in like 4th or 5th grade.
So you're like 10, 11 years old.
Yeah.
And so that means
no, I was probably 6th or 7th. I was
gonna say, I think you were a little older based on some of the stories you told. Okay, so that's a very dangerous age to give that kind of directive. To your 3 boys. Because that means AJ was probably like 8th grade. Yeah. It's like 13.
He was probably like junior, maybe like 8th or 9th grade.
13, 14 years
old.
All right. No, it's a good visual, like that era of childhood for boys. We
were smart enough to like problem solve, but not necessarily smart enough to like discern value.
Oh my God. But in fairness, if that's what she said.
Yeah. And so, you know, we're like, okay, throw everything away. Got it. And of course we were also like, you know, well, what's the best way to do this? I know what we can do. We'll take everything out of the attic, and instead of having to go down the stairs, out into the backyard, over to the dumpster, we'll just open our little brother's window and throw everything out the window into the dumpster. It's perfect. And anything that's too big, we'll smash up with baseball bats. And so, like, and my mom's at work. So she's not supervising, listening to the chaos that's going on. And like she gets home and that like there was still stuff up there that wasn't categorized as throw it away. And we probably misinterpreted the instruction or whatever. We were idiot kids.
I'd love to hear exactly what she said and go back and be like, wow, you guys really fucked up.
And like, you know, like it was something like there's a bed frame that was in the attic that was like handmade designer bed frame kind of thing that was worth a lot of money, and we literally smashed it with baseball bats and threw it out the window into a dumpster.
How do you smash a bed frame with baseball bats?
We figured out how. I mean, it wasn't like fully assembled. We were just breaking like pieces down and stuff like that.
My God.
And then I remember, and this is like the most me thing as a kid and probably like transfers into adulthood. I had to pack up all the stuff in my room. And, you know, like I'm packing up all my stuff and like putting it away and putting it in boxes to move. And like, I had a bunch of like models, like robot character models. They were like, they're Gundam models. You
can call them Power Rangers.
No, they weren't Zords. They were Gundams, which is like an anime, and they're like robot
so
nerdier. Yeah, nerdier. And of course, I'm like, oh man, this is my chance to fix them. And so like I'm like, well, I'm packing them up into their boxes because they'd been on my shelf.
You had to fix them first.
I had to fix it, and like I got out like, and not even, I was fixing them in a way a sixth grader would who's unsupervised. Like, you know, they were, you know, not,
I know where this is going.
And so like I had a jar of rubber cement.
Yeah.
And there's no furniture left in my room.
So you're on the floor.
So I'm on the carpeted floor
because everything was carpeted.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
oh my God.
And I literally like knocked over this whole jar of rubber cement into the carpet. And then like panicked. I'm trying to clean it. It's like dry and crusty. And I think eventually like we were going through and I'm sure my parents, you know, or my mom like identified this as we were leaving, but was just like, whatever, we'll deal with it later.
Right.
But like, I think I left a box on top of the spot and it's just this like totally dried, crusted.
You're like, nothing to see here. What's that box, Spencer? Is there stuff in there? Nope.
And it's like the most me thing where I'm like, ooh, I know what I'll do. I'll fix my models.
And that's also like a 10-year-old thing to do. Like that's something like, I guess like 11, 12.
Yeah. Like, why don't you pack them up and fix them when we get to where we're going?
That is a you thing. I would also do something like that. And like, I think it's actually kind of cute. Like it's just kids. Like I think about the things, like I have little flashback memories of just like being a kid in my room growing up. And like we lived in the house that my mom is in now ever since, like we moved there when I was 4.
Yeah.
So I have like 3 memories of the other house. And then it also gets confusing because like I think I have more, but it's like footage from Christmas because my dad was always really good about like setting up a camera in the room, which is so funny because like in hindsight, especially in our teenage years, we're just like rolling our eyes and we're like, set the camera up. And now I'm like, you guys are assholes. Like, thank God he did
never
that.
Gonna happen again. You know, like
especially since like in that era of our lives, we weren't really recording stuff. Like right now, like everything is documented all the time. Yeah. And so I'm super grateful that my dad was like that. But anyway, we lived in an even smaller house because like my mom's house isn't that big, but this house was tiny, like really little. And the boys shared a room, and then because Morgan is 7 years older than me, she had her own room. Boys shared, and then I had my own room. And I have these like flashes of just like being in my room at 3.5, 4 years old. Yeah. And like my room was a disaster all the time because I was a child, like I was tiny. Yeah. And just like I have this vivid memory of like the entire carpet was covered in toys. And my like Mickey Mouse bank, and like I'm just like hanging out in my room, and like something caught my attention, and then that was that for the next couple of hours maybe until I realized I needed a nap or food or something. And it's like that was your whole life. It's just funny looking back on like being a kid and like you didn't have anything to think about or worry about, and like you get so upset about things. Like, okay, sorry, one more story from that era of my life in that house. I was obsessed until I was probably 18 years old with going with my mom. If she had to run errands, I had to go with her. It wasn't like an OCD, like weird, like thing, but it was just like, I don't want to be left out. And now like I need to talk to a therapist, clearly. But there was a time where I knew my mom was going to go to the grocery store. And if you know my mom doesn't go to the grocery store. Yeah,
she goes to like 5 different places.
She has a thing. I totally get it. I'm like, no, I have to go to Target for these things. I have to go to Central Market for these. And I have to go here. She like 3 grocery stores on, every other Saturday. And I was excited to like go with my mom. And I like was done, painting my nails. And I go to my dad and I'm like, where's mom? I'm ready to go. And he's like, she left like 2 hours ago. So like, how cute is it to imagine like a 4-year-old being like, I'm going to the store with my mom. Hold on 1 second.
I'll just paint my nails.
And you knew my dad was probably like, she's
Yeah.
gone. She's been gone for a while.
It is weird the stuff you remember. And like just you talking about that and to bring it back full circle. I remember I had, and like it's weird, like memory is just weird in general.
It is like, very weird.
I had, and I think I got it as a gift, either from my parents or like a relative. It was an XMEN, like how to draw XMEN book. And it was actually really cool. Like, it was spiral bound, pretty thick, and it had on the spiral binding like a pouch that it came with like all these different pens and markers and brushes and stuff. And it was far too advanced for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
right.
I was a child and like I didn't, I could barely color in the lines. And I was like, I had this thing and I think I carried it around with me everywhere. And and like if you found it today, if it were in a box somewhere in an attic or whatever, there's probably like 3 pages where I've attempted. And like, but I remember having, and like, cause I was so nervous about not being able to do it. Cause I was like, oh, it shows you how to do it. And I'd get like the wrong pen or whatever. And like, everything's all,
and you have one chance.
And I'm just like, no, I ruined it. Like,
sad.
But like that like sticks in and like, I can picture my attempted drawing of Nightcrawler, and it's just funny. Like
it makes me sad. Like it's like sweet, but then you think back and it's like, I think I won't like get like upset and deep. We don't have to go there. But like now that my dad's gone, it's like painful. And I always think of that episode of Mad Men where Don is working on a pitch for Kodak. Yeah. And it's their carousel. But it wasn't called that yet. In the show, he coins it. But he's talking about how nostalgia is like a pain in your heart. Yeah. And it's like this like perfect like blend of like happy nostalgia, but also like it kind of hurts. Yeah. But it's funny like you describing like coloring book. Like I have this very vivid memory of being in the house on Oak Bluff at Christmas time. And like my parents were just like in the living room, like hanging out. And we had that big coffee table my dad made. Yeah. And I had these coloring books that were like this thick. Yeah. And that really cheap, like not even like construction paper, but newsprint paper. Yeah. It's like not white. It's like kind of gray. And just like feeling like I hit the jackpot. Like I've got hundreds of pages. And there were some that like, I bet my mom still has them. I'm going to ask if she still has them because like, you're having so much fun. You're having the time of your life. It's Christmas and all this shit. And then you go back and look and you're like, I literally was I didn't even notice that there were lines on the page. You're just going like for it. Yeah. I'm going to ask her if she has those. I bet she does.
I wish I had like now. And it's funny, like, and I'm sure there's probably boxes somewhere. I'm sure I'd threw most of it away when I was a teenager or whatever. And that's the kind of thing where like when you think back and you're like, man, like, and like we went through phases when we were in our 20s, like we finally moved into a house or into an apartment or whatever, and you're like going through boxes of stuff that was like your, the box that you took from your mom's house to your first apartment, and like you kept it, and then like you look at it 5 years later and you're like, this is all garbage. Why do I have this?
20-year-olds are assholes when it comes to these things.
And you
like
you like throw it away, and then like, there's so many things you look back and you're like, man, I wish, and like.
I can't get it back.
And especially like, when I was in, we moved into an apartment and like I was in school and I'm like studying art and whatever, I'm like, this is embarrassing. I don't want anybody to ever see this. But like now that I'm like, you know, in my 30s and I have a job as an art director and I do like design work on major projects and stuff like that, I'm like, man, I wish I had like my stupid Dragon Ball Z drawings from when I was a kid.
See,
you know, like
something about that era of my life, and I think most people's, is in your 20s where you're suddenly like, this, when am I ever going to need this again? And it's like, that's not the point. You don't need it.
Right.
But like, you can literally never replace this. So just like, I have a box, I have multiple boxes in my office, like closet, that are like essays and just stuff from high school. And I've gone through it before and I've weeded stuff out, but I was very careful when I did it. Cause there were some things where like, if I hesitated for 1 second, I was like, there's a reason, I'm going to keep it.
Yeah. I think I also have, and this is something that like I'll never do because I'll never have time to do it, and it might be too late at this point. But I've thought about multiple times. Like I still have, I think you still have too. Like I still have my laptop.
Oh my God!
That I got in like college, like for my first classes, and I'm sure it has like literally everything for all my classes like saved on it still. Mm-hmm. I don't have it and I use it. I like have it.
No, I have it
too.
In
a box and it's like.
But I want to plug it in and like see. Will it turn on at this point?
I mean, it might if we have the charger for it. It might. Still
you know
turn on,
we do. If we have the laptops, we have the chargers.
I had this giant.
Yours was
laptop,
out of control.
Giant laptop.
It was like this thick.
And it was this thick.
So heavy.
Yeah.
Remember when people bought laptops that were just like brand. I don't even know.
Yeah.
It just feels like a college laptop thing. Like I remember people who had Macs, like Apple laptops, like, oh
wow. I had a Lenovo laptop and it was actually a pretty good laptop. My mom bought it for me and it was like, you know, and she actually like, she was like, well, you can get the gaming one. And I was like, yeah, fuck yeah. Yeah. I remember
now you work for a video studio. It's so
and
perfect.
I remember sitting in the like pub at the university.
Do all universities have a pub?
They all have something
Is it
like
because
that.
ours
like
was called that too?
Ours was called the pub. Yeah. And
you also had a Chick-fil-A on campus.
Yeah, that's true. I remember sitting in there and playing World of Warcraft on my laptop. And like, I think there was like two guys talking to each other at a table over and they're like, oh, cool, he's playing World of Warcraft.
I was gonna say, is this why you were playing World of Warcraft in public? You wanted to like get some friends?
No, I think it was a
interest?
situation where, because I didn't live on campus, and I think it was a situation where I had like, and I had this happen a lot, because like I didn't live on campus, and two, like, you know, I was working, and you know, I'd just schedule a day where I had multiple classes, and so I'd have like a class at 11 a.m. and then I'd have a class at 3 p.m. and then a class at 7. So there were like multiple 2 hour and a half, 2 hour breaks in between.
You did that so that you would be at school all day and then you could have all day to work.
I think days? It was like, it was so that I could get all my classes on a day.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
And then I would be able to work the rest of the week. And then also because like, you know, to a degree, you know, there would be a class that was only at 7 o'clock on Tuesday, Thursday or whatever, you know, like, and that's the class I wanted to take. So
my school did not have classes that late.
Yeah. I had a lot, like, well, it was a larger university, so they had classes all the time, but
they had
larger than yours, you know.
Every college is larger than the one I went to.
And also like I think that they had a lot of stuff that accommodated people that were like working. So like they'd have 7 o'clock. They were like 7 to 9:45.
I mean, it's smart. If you went to my school, I mean, there weren't a lot of places to work, so it makes sense that yours would be accommodating and mine wasn't.
And then, you know, of course, I spent that time in between playing World of Warcraft. But like, I also remember like that laptop. I could feel how hot it was through the keys.
That's why I'm afraid to plug them in because I'm like, they're gonna explode. Like they're gonna light on fire. I do want to know what's on those though.
Yeah, probably some weird shit.
Probably just like really bad essays.
Yeah. Or like really good essays. It'd be weird. And like I've read some of my essays from school and like sometimes I'm like, well, he's pretty smart. But sometimes you're like, Jesus Christ. He was playing World of Warcraft.
He was just,
and he was like
trying to get this
20 minutes doing this right before class. Yeah.
I just remember my senior year of high school, not even college. College was like a whole other story. But high school, I was taking like a AP English lit class. And I was working.
Yeah.
Like, and we've talked about this before, like Bed Bath & Beyond, like we would work like 5:30 to 9:30 Monday through Thursday or whatever. So I had no time to do homework.
Yeah.
And I was taking like an accelerated, like advanced lit class, which only consisted of reading books and writing essays. That is the class, right?
Yeah.
And I think that when you were in high school, did you guys do AB days? And you had like 8 classes a day?
No, we did that. So we used, flashback. I might be wrong about this.
Wait, I know what mine was, so I think that'll help.
Okay.
Ours was weird compared to Plano schools.
Yeah.
We did AB semesters. So we had longer classes. We had like 90-minute class periods or something like that. And you went like every week or like 2 days a week or something like that. And then you were done like college style. Even if it wasn't a college level class, you just did those classes in the fall and then you switched in the spring.
Yeah.
I feel like you guys did like AB days.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think we had certain days where we had certain classes and it would be a year long.
So you'd have like 45-minute classes, but you had English fall through summer.
Yeah.
I can't even, could you imagine taking a class from late August until late May? That's crazy. Yeah. But anyway, long story short, I would write essays at, 3:00 in the morning and be like, I don't know, I barely read it. It was, Canterbury Tales, so I watched A Knight's Tale and hope for the best. Actually, that's wrong. That's the one time I did really, really good.
Yeah.
Was Canterbury Tales. And I told my dad, I was like, I'm about to lose it. I haven't slept. I'm working all the time. I work weekends. Like, they really like me at work. So they're scheduling me like all day Saturday, all day Sunday. I need to stay home and I'm going to do homework. Is that okay? And my dad like worked from home all through high school. So he was like, I appreciate you coming to me and being honest. If you really need the day, take the day.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting in my room on my little laptop and I finished reading the book and I wrote this essay and I got like a 98.
Yeah.
And it was so annoying because I'm like, why am I working to get $300 every 2 weeks to spend on Hollister? That's basically what I did.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's crazy. I remember writing an essay and it was 3:00 in the morning and I was like, I just finished playing World of Warcraft for 8 hours.
Could you imagine writing something at 3:00 in the morning?
And it was 3:00 in the morning. I was like, I have a class at 10 a.m. and I have an essay that I haven't even started writing
on a book I haven't read.
I don't know if it was what the prompt was. It wasn't like an English class thing. I can't remember exactly what the class was. I ended up writing an essay about Spider-Man. It's like,
why is this so perfect?
I don't know.
This conversation.
We should probably wrap this up with this one, but like, I wrote this essay about Spider-Man, and I think it was like the movie had recently come out, and it was like tying it into something else. There was some parallel that I was drawing, and I wrote this essay in like 25 minutes at 3 a.m. Went to sleep, woke up the next morning at like 9 for my 10 o'clock class. Opened my computer, was like, all right, this is fine. We're going with it.
There's no way it was fine.
Printed it out, turned it in, and my teacher like the next week was like, that was a really good essay. It was really well written.
Of course. Like a big part of me is not surprised right now.
And I'm like, yeah, I spent all the time on it. Anyway.
That's the most Spencer story you could have told. Yeah, I'm yawning.
And that's still how I operate.
It is. No, don't tell his boss, but that is the truth, y'all.
No, I with work, I'm a little bit different. There are some things where I'm like, yeah, I'm working on it. Yeah, I'm working on it. And because it's more of like a theoretical process of working on it where you're trying to figure it out. And then when you get to executing it and sit down, you've done the like thought behind it and you can do it quickly. But
I've said this a lot, but someone said this at an event I went to last fall. And he was like, poets say that 90% of their work happens staring out the window.
Yeah.
So they just sit there and they're thinking and they're conceptual. And like the second I heard that, I was like, that's Spencer.
Yeah.
Because if you take all of this time to really think and piece together, and like then when it comes time to like, paint the painting, it's just like, psh, and it's perfect. And people are like, fuck you, how did you do that so fast? And it's like, I didn't. True. This is hypercritical.
This has been hypercritical. Thanks for joining us this week.
This is now hyper sleepy.
We'll be
We'll be next back week.
We'll be next back week. Are we going to be back next week? Are you here?
Yeah.
Oh, good. We're going to be back next week. Shannon's got a lot of travel coming up, so it might interrupt our schedule a little bit. But
I have to go to the armpit of America next week. So
at least, well, you go from
Monday through Wednesday, so I'll be back.
The armpit of America, and then you come back, and then you go to like Paris, France. So like,
and then like wine country, Italy. Although I think all of Italy is wine country, but this is like the especially special.
Some good balance there. Anyway, thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week, and as always.
Stay critical. Stay critical.
Stay critical out there.
Is that our new tagline? Stay critical.
Oh, and thanks to our patrons.
Hi, buddy. Remember when he brought his rainbow up on the table? Y'all, he's never done that before. Never.
Guys, look.
He's dragged it across the entire house. He has never jumped onto something else. He's the cutest cat in the world.